Hey everyone, welcome back to the Why We Disney podcast. Thank you for joining us once again. Today we are going to be talking about one of the most popular lands in all of Walt Disney World and Disneyland, okay? And that is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So get ready to hear a lot of information. You might want to take notes, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. We hope that you guys are so excited.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another magical episode. And let's just say this episode is going to be out of this world, in a different world per se. That's right. We are going to be talking about the one, the only Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Note, Kaycee and I have some nice Star Wars apparel on today. Kaycee, where's yours from?
Mine's from Ellie and May. And you can use code Kaycee10 for 10% off your order. What?
Okay, plug. Mine's from Kohl's.
Yours is from Kohl's. Jeez, who knew?
So grab yourself some Star Wars apparel. As Kaycee said, I'm so glad you told the listeners to grab a pen. I don't know about you, but there's so many things to know about Galaxy's Edge. Those on the East and West Coast, all the history, the rides, the food. So are you ready to dive into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we got to go back 6 years, y'all. All the way back in 2015, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was announced, right? And it took 6 years from the concept development all the way to the construction and it being open to the public. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm looking at my notes here because you got to know the dates, you got to know everything. So Walt Disney World in August 29th of 2019, it officially opened at Disney World. And it was at Hollywood Studios. So what perfect placement to put it in Hollywood Studios, because Hollywood Studios is all about that movie immersion, being a part of the movie, being a part of the scene. And we all know that Galaxy's Edge and Batuu is a completely immersive environment. You see no parts of Disney anywhere. So I just want to give it up to them. It's a great place to put it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Cannot agree more.
So I just want to say a pro tip here. You can go ahead and watch the Behind the Attractions episode of Star Tours, and this is going to give you the full history, and you can see kind of the development of this one ride, Star Wars, to a whole land. And isn't that crazy? A thought concept, we went from one ride or one character to a whole land in the theme park, which is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars franchise, sold the rights over to Disney in 2015. So now Disney is owning another part, right? And he wanted to spend more time with his family. That's why he sold it over to Disney. And he wanted to put it in the hands of a company that he trusted. And can you imagine if it didn't go over to Disney?
Wow, that's crazy to think about now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's just no Galaxy's Edge and none of those fans coming over. I know. So I just want to give some fun facts about George Lucas himself. So at Disneyland's second day, not opening day, but the second day, he was actually there as a child at the opening of Disneyland. It really came full circle.
Yeah. I just think it's cool that he's been like a fan his entire life of Disney. I don't know. I just think that's cool. And like, what better company to put like literally your whole life's work into to make it more successful? And did they make it more successful? Like, good gracious.
I know. So he was a fan, right? And then he created the Star Wars. So when Disney was like, oh, we should probably have a ride for this really big franchise, George Lucas gave his opinions and his insight into the Star Tours ride. Now, Star Tours in Walt Disney World and Hollywood Studios is right outside Galaxy's Edge. It's not in Galaxy's Edge. I do want to make that known because some people are like, where's the Star Tours ride? It's not in Batuu. All right, there's just a lot going on. We'll get into the rides and the theming, but there's just so much to expect when you're going to Galaxy's Edge, and I really would love you to kind of let the listeners know what they're in for.
Absolutely. What is walking into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge look like? What is this whole thing? Okay, So when you're entering Galaxy's Edge, right, you are welcome to explore the Black Spire Outpost from the planet of Batu, okay? Some common locals there are smugglers, rogue traders, droids, and other creatures that are trying to stay out of sight of the First Order, okay? And let's make this known too. So the planet Batu is not in any Star Wars movie whatsoever, okay? But the timeline is based between the 8th and ninth newest trilogy of the Star Wars, right? Okay, so it's very interesting when you walk through and you're like maybe expecting to see like Darth Vader or like R2D2 or whatever, but you just don't, and I think
because I just want people to know, like, some of you might be listening because you haven't been to Galaxy's Edge before, and some of you might be listening because you haven't been there and you're not a fan, like myself. When I went there, I thought that I was meeting the Darth Vader, and that's not him. It's Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So you do. I would recommend watching at least one movie before you go. And as Kaycee said, that 789, the newest trilogy, is going to be most beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the main indicator of the timeline is actually during the ride, Rise of the Resistance, right? Which we're going to talk about the ride here in a few minutes. But so you'll notice that General Hux is still taking orders from Kylo Ren. So it hasn't been yet revealed that General Hux is the mole that is feeding information over to the Resistance. So really, you don't have to pay attention too much to kind of understand like where Galaxy's Edge is at in the timeline. I just think it's so cool. Like the creativity they did to put into this, like creating a whole new thing, not even like scratching it from a movie, like a whole new thing.
A whole new world. Place. Never knew it. Batu, we've never knew it. Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. So don't forget, guys, that when you're walking through Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, make sure you keep an eye out for character sightings, okay? So you might see Rey or Chewie is known to be sighting for prepping for another standoff with the First Order, okay? So they're constantly like running around, like trying to get things in order, right? And then you might see Kylo Ren and his army of stormtroopers, by the way. So cool. They're so cool. Oh my gosh. So what they do is they walk around and they surf the crowds. And what they're doing is trying to capture resistance spies, which they stay in character so perfectly throughout the entire thing. Like Kylo Ren has literally walked up to me and like asked me specific questions. And I'm like, and I probably look guilty as I'll get out. Like, do I not look so guilty?
Yes, absolutely.
So I have 3 really fun facts that I'm super excited to share with you guys, okay? So the first one is in the resistance area of Galaxy's Edge, okay? So you'll find a gray and blue X-Wing ship. So y'all, this is an actual prop from the very popular Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian. They literally shot with it on The Mandalorian on set, and then they shipped it right before opening day in 2019 in Hollywood Studios. I will look at that X-Wing differently. Will you not, Kara?
Yes. I'm still a little confused as to which one it is. Again, guys, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. So it's important that you guys write down these fun facts and these tips because there's so much to keep up on. So I know there's a ship.
And it's blue and gray.
It's blue and gray. So I will, now knowing this information, I'm going to keep that in the back of my head and look at it next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another fun fact, which is actually my favorite fun facts that I found out, I literally geeked out on this. Kara, have you ever noticed in Galaxy's Edge that every single trash can, every single one of them has a number on it? Have you noticed that?
Not at all, because they blend in too much.
They do. Y'all, I had to Google pictures of Galaxy's Edge trash cans to make sure, okay? There is a number, and it's the same number on every trash can, and it's 3263827. What in the world is that number for? Well, this is actually a hidden reference to the sector number where Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia were trapped in that trash compactor. This was the number represents the sector that they were in. Did you see this movie, Kara?
I did watch all the movies. Can I reference the scene? Not at all. But it's cool.
Yeah. Do you not remember them being in the trash chute and the walls were like getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer together?
No.
It's totally okay. It's totally okay. So I geeked out on this. I had to Google what, like, I'm like, surely there's not a number on every single trash can, and I've never noticed it. Yo, there is a number on every single trash can, and it's the very same number. It's 3263827. How cool is that?
Good to know.
Only the super fans would know that, man. I'm telling you. Okay, my third and final fact here is so similar to Toy Story Land, where they have Andy's footprint, right, stamped in the ground. So Galaxy's Edge also has their exclusive feature similar to Toy Story Land, right? So the original R2-D2 costume was actually brought in. So when they poured the concrete down for Galaxy's Edge, they actually ran the costume that they shot the first trilogy, R2-D2, right? They literally like walked him through. So those tracks that you see on the ground when you're walking through Galaxy's Edge, that's legitimately from R2-D2, the original. How cool is that?
And I think it's to scale, not the very big Andy's footprint. So it's a little bit different. You're going to have to look for it, but it's really nice to know.
Yes. So cool. So cool. All right. And well, obviously there's so much more to do with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So let's talk about some rides and some food. Carrie, you want to take us off with what they can expect as far as rides and food?
Well, where is there to start but the two probably most popular rides in Hollywood studios right now, which is the two in Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance and the Millennium Falcon. Now, we do want to preface this by saying, remember that not everyone is guaranteed to ride Rise. This is still a boarding group system right now, although wait times have been very low and people have been getting extra boarding groups, but that's neither here nor there. Just want to give you the tea. But if you do get a boarding group and ride Rise, you are going to absolutely love it. As a not really big Star Wars fan myself, I will say that that's still one of my top 3 rides in the whole parks system. They were coming at me and asking me questions, and it was just so cool. So we do hear that there is now a standby line for Rise, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
How crazy is that? So based on some research, they've opened up a standby line almost after all the boarding groups have gone through. So just stay tuned for that. We're going to try to give you guys all the updates on these boarding groups. Now with annual passes coming out and more boarding groups and revenue Ratatouille, it's a lot to keep up with. So make sure to head over to our Instagram at Why We Disney Podcast so you can stay up to date on all of those things. And we're actually going to post our reel on the tips and tricks on how to get a boarding group for that. So stay tuned for that as well. And you might be guessing, well, how do I get it? Well, right now to join a queue, it's available at 2 times, 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. And you don't have to be in the park. However, you do have to have I almost said High School Musical, a Hollywood Studios park reservation. So you have to go into Hollywood that day. You have to be on your phone at 6:59:58, refreshing, okay, getting yourself a boarding group, because Rise of the Resistance is just like any other. Can you give any insight or any opinions on that ride for the viewers?
Well, yeah. So I think that I've heard people say that it's frustrating when I plan to park hop to Hollywood Studios. So I don't have a park reservation, but I plan to park hop. Why can't I get a boarding group at 1 or 2 o'clock? And it's one of those things. So just make sure that if you don't have a park reservation for Hollywood Studios and you are park hopping over, unfortunately, you will not be able to get a boarding group. Now, this standby line, though, could be a game changer. I've heard really good things about it so far, that they're kind of letting people go through the line after most of the boarding groups are already through. So, I mean, you could still potentially ride it if you park hop, but just keep in mind, you know, you're not guaranteed to ride it. So yeah, there's that.
But something you could ride is Smuggler's Run. Now, if you're a big Star Wars fan, I know that you have fantasized and dreamed over the idea of driving Han Solo's famous Millennium Falcon. And I hear that this is the ship. Okay, good to know. So in the Star Wars galaxy, it is known as the hunk of junk in the galaxy. And this ride allows you to drive, defend, and engineer the ship. There are 6 riders per little section, 2 drivers, 2 defenders, 2 engineers. Quote from Kara, do not wait in a 2-hour-long ride to only be the engineer or the defender.
Right.
Ask the cast member when you get to the front to please let you be a pilot, because I promise you that is the best experience of the ride, is to actually drive it. And I don't want you to waste 2 hours of your day standing in a line to do nothing as an engineer. But you didn't hear that from me.
Don't quote Kara, but she said it. I absolutely, I agree. I love the pilot seat. Is just, you get the whole experience, right? And I also love the gunner or the defender option as well. I don't hate that. I'll wait 2 hours to be the defender, but you're right. I will not wait 2 hours to be an engineer. Sorry.
Yes. And accordingly. And just so you know, that Smuggler's Run, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, did recently open a single rider line. So if you want to try to get there a little bit faster through the queue, you can take that single rider. Again, a little sidebar, Kara tip. I'm sorry, I just want the listeners to know. We, on my latest trip, we asked a cast member what the wait time was for that. And they said because there's so many groups going on, even groups, that sometimes single rider lines can be even longer than the standby queue. So I don't want to say go in single rider. It'll be shorter. It might not.
Yeah, it might not be. Right. Dang. Didn't think about that.
Pro tips here. Another pro tip is where to eat. So you have a couple of different options in Galaxy's Edge. You have the Docking Bay 7 for some food and cargo. You have Ronto Roasters, the famous milk stand with that amazing blue milk. You have Kaycee, is it Kat Sada's Kettle?
Kat Sada's Kettle or Saka's Kettle?
I'm sorry, I don't speak Bactrian. I forget what the language is, but I cannot speak it.
All I know is popcorn.
Yes, they have that famous kettle popcorn that comes in a couple different colors and flavors. And of course, Oga's Cantina that I do suggest. But I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't tried the blue milk, it doesn't taste like milk. So I recently posted on my Instagram, people were like, how are you drinking milk on like 100-degree day? It's like a slushy.
Yeah.
It's $7.99 normal, the milk or green, the blue or green, and then it's $14 if you decide to get it a little spiked. So definitely go and try those out.
Yeah, for sure. On a hot day, it's refreshing, actually. You wouldn't think that it would be, but it is definitely refreshing. And I want to say, too, that at Oga's Cantina, you do have to make a reservation for that. You can't just walk up at Oga's. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind as well that you are making a reservation for possibly standing room, because I think Kara was confused one time when she went to Oga's, I believe, right?
Yes.
And you were like, I made a reservation. And they're like, yeah, this is your spot. And you're like, but there's no chair here.
There's no chair. And like, after standing in the heat of Galaxy's Edge, after a long day in Hollywood Studios, all I wanted to do, I was so excited to go into Oga's Cantina and sit down and have a drink. And they were like, here's this really close knit stand at the bar. Oh, okay. I guess my feet will have no relaxation, but that's fine.
Yes, yes. And I will say too, Oga's is a very immersive part as well of Galaxy's Edge. You truly feel like you're in one of the movies, and gosh, there's just so much going on. It's very loud in there. It's very fun atmosphere. You will enjoy it, especially if you're a Star Wars fan, but even if you're not, it is really fun.
Yeah. And even if you're not a Star Wars fan, there's still some cool things that you can do.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some cool things that we can do. Also, some experiences that they offer in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. You can build your own droid. Now, this is $99.99, and you would build this over at the Droid Depot, okay? This experience takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and it is non-refundable because it is completely custom, okay? So you can build your own droid, your own colors, or you can build your own lightsaber. Now, this experience is $219.99. The location where you would build one of these is at Savvy Workshop. Savvy Workshop. And keep in mind, guys, if you are DVC or annual pass, you can use your discount for both of these experiences. So I know that price of that lightsaber seems a little steep, but if you have an annual pass or DVC, you can use your discount there. Or if you know someone, hey, I'm not above like letting somebody borrow my annual pass to get that discounted. For sure.
Well, guys, we have so much to talk about, and we've been talking about the East Coast for a little bit, but there are some differences on the West Coast. So we're going to take a quick ad break and then come to you with some surprises.
Welcome back, guys. So in the last segment, we talked a lot about the East Coast. And I'm so glad that Kara teased you guys about how we have something special coming for you in our second segment. And we do. We have two very special guests who have joined us in this final segment of the huge topic of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So everyone give just a warm welcome to our editor, Sydney, and our social media manager, Amanda. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
I'm so happy. So now they're obviously with Disney World and Disneyland, they're pretty much the same, but there are some key differences that we really need to talk about and pull out. So I'm just going to let you guys take it away. What's the first one that people need to look out for to go to both of them?
Yeah, so the main difference is that Galaxy's Edge actually opened in Disneyland first before Hollywood Studios. So it actually opened in Disneyland on May 31st, 2019. So like 3 full months before it opened on the East Coast. Us West Coast people got a little preview of it. And I know like Instagram was blowing up with like, oh, I can't wait until it comes to the East Coast because it just looked amazing.
Right.
So I would say that was a big difference that we kind of got it a little bit earlier, not too much there, but
you did. You got a preview. That's not fair.
It was so fun too. But I will say that like Rise of Resistance actually got to go to the East Coast first. So it kind of, we like swapped roles that you guys got in like December and we had to wait until January, I had to wait till February to go on it. Right. So we kind of had a little swapping of roles there later on.
It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, and I know Amanda went like pretty soon after it opened in Disneyland, so she was like one of the first people to see it. I had to wait I had to wait until September after it opened, but it was still just like such a magical experience to see it. And I was excited to see the Disney World version afterwards and compare them. And that kind of leads us into our next difference, because one of the main differences that everyone notices is that there are 3 entrances to the Disneyland version, where there are only 2 at Walt Disney World. And some people might not think this makes a difference, but I think it does. So first, the entrances, I can kind of explain where they go to. There is a Critter Country trail that goes from Critter Country, and it leads into the Rise of the Resistance area. So you can go like straight to the ride that way if your boarding group is called. And then the next is the Frontierland Tunnel, and that actually opens up in the center of Blackspire Outpost. And then there is one that's kind of like by Fantasyland and Big Thunder Mountain Trail, and that connects to the First Order section. So yeah, you have those three entrances, and it kind of puts you in a different part of the land in Batuu.
That is so cool. I want to know, Sydney and Amanda, what are your favorite entrances to walk through?
Because kind of like what Sydney was saying, it depends on where you're going, like which entrance you go through. So when our like Rise of Resistance boarding group was called, like we went through the Critter Country one because that's like the quickest way to get there. And we wanted to hop on Rise as quick as possible. But so it kind of depends on where you're going. I feel like I kind of gravitate towards the Fantasyland one just because
so the tunnel.
Yeah. So just the way I go around the park, that's where I kind of just naturally go. But it depends on what I'm going for, what my mission is, I guess.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Basically, whatever ride I'm on too, if I'm on like Haunted Mansion, I'm going to go the Critter Country route, especially if I have Rise of the Resistance passes. Or, if I'm in that like main castle area, I'll take the Fantasyland. But that one actually does have a special place because that was the first entrance I walked through when I first saw it. And like, I just was so speechless. And I think you can kind of hear, I took a video of like walking through it to experience it for the first time. And you can probably hear me like choke up a little bit.
Oh, love that. Now I'm thinking, so when we did it, I did like a preview period for Galaxy's Edge, and they made us go through the Critter Country one, which is not the best entrance because you go through a tunnel. It's nothing like spectacular. And they made us go through that one for the review that we did. So I'm kind of jealous, Sydney. You got to go through the tunnel the first time.
Yeah, it was very special. And then you can you see it transition from theme park to you're in outer space, you're on this planet, and then you hear the music in the background, and then the first thing you see the blue milk stand and everything, and it's great.
For sure. What's next?
All right, the next difference, this is kind of a big difference, that at the Disney World, Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios, there is much more alcohol. So, and that's just kind of Disneyland versus Disney World in general. There's a lot more alcohol just in Disney World overall compared to Disneyland. Disneyland actually did not have any alcohol at all except for Club 33 until Oga's Cantina opened in 2019. So Oga's Cantina was the first alcohol that was open public in Disneyland. And that's the only place you can get it in Galaxy's Edge currently at Disneyland. Whereas at Hollywood Studios, you can add alcohol to your blue or green milk. You can grab it at Ronto Roasters or Docking Bay 7, as well as Oga's Cantina, but at Disneyland, only in Oga's. Which was really exciting for us. I am not a big drinker at all, but still it was so exciting. You can actually grab a beverage in Disneyland for the first ever. And now Disneyland has expanded a little bit that at Blue Bayou, you can also get alcoholic drinks now. They're kind of branching out a little bit more. But it was really cool that it was our first place that we could get in Disneyland.
Interesting. That's really cool.
And I think the drinks are very similar. So I've been into Oga's in both the East Coast and West Coast, and they're very similar. I kind of felt like the drinks in Disneyland were stronger, which I kind of feel that way overall. I feel like I get my money's worth more when I'm drinking at Disneyland opposed to Disney World, which is funny because they were very anti-alcohol for a while. But even the cup sizes were different. I feel like the glasses that they used in Disney are a little bit bigger. I could be making that up, but I do know that they're different shapes. So, yeah. Sydney, have you been in Bogus yet?
No, I was going to make a reservation last time, but my trip got cut short due to COVID, but I am excited to try it. I hope if I had standing room only, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. So I'm hoping to sit down and relax. I know that's one thing that Kara is probably against, but
I have a love-hate relationship with Bogus Cantina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm excited to try it. So I'm going to need your guys' drink recommendations when I go.
For sure. Yeah.
For sure. Yep. Up next.
Yeah, so our next fun fact about the differences is actually that you can see fireworks from the Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, and you can't see really fireworks. You don't get that view in Disney World. So when they do their fireworks show at night, you can actually see it right over the Millennium Falcon, which is really cool. So if you haven't experienced that, I recommend looking it up on YouTube or go looking for pictures because it's a pretty cool view. And I know a lot of people like to photograph Galaxy's Edge at night. So that's a fun little thing that you can have in the back of your photos.
Is this Disneyland fireworks? Is it the Star Wars fireworks?
It's Disneyland fireworks. So they have like Mickey's Mix Magic going on right now. And you can see those at kind of like they're over the castle, but from the view of Galaxy's Edge, they come up right behind the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
That's super cool. I think that Galaxy's Edge is definitely like a close down the park worthy land because they do light it up so nicely. But apparently in Disneyland, more so in Disney World, it's way more of a close down worthy land because of the fireworks. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is neat. I've never seen them here, but I've seen pictures and they're gorgeous. Like, and that's definitely on my bucket list to do fireworks in there sometime.
Sure.
Yeah. So our next major difference, and this one, I have not really like examined this a ton, but we've heard this from multiple people that the merchandise and food actually is cheaper, less expensive in Disneyland and Disney World. Which like blows my mind. Like it's me. You would think that things would just be exactly the same. But it's a little bit cheaper in Disneyland. And also the food options are a little bit different as well. So I know like there's different offerings. Docking Bay 7, if you look at those menus, they have definitely a few different things on them. So when you are looking at things and you're like, oh, food's from Galaxy's Edge, I want to grab that when I go to Disneyland. Like make sure you're looking at the menu and make sure that it's at the Disneyland Galaxy's Edge because some things are not. So like, for example, I know the Mellow juice, which a lot of people love, is not available in Orlando. It's only Anaheim. Anaheim also has this amazing like cold brew, which I thought of you, Kaycee, when I saw a picture of this. It's this cold brew with like Cocoa Puffs on top of it and sweet cream foam, and it looks amazing. I'm going to definitely grab it in a couple weeks and let you know how it is.
Yes.
But it's only offered at Disneyland. So, you know, we always hear they're copy and pasted lands and everything's exactly the same, but they're not. So be careful when you are adding to your food list. I want to grab this and this and this and this. Make sure that it's in the right Galaxy's Edge that you're looking to.
I'm for sure adding that to my list when I go to Disneyland, for sure. Wow. What else is there? Man, I'm just learning so much.
So the next thing I have for you is that the boarding group times for Rides of the Resistance is actually different in each park. So you can get a boarding pass at 7 a.m. or 12 p.m. in Disneyland. So those times are a little bit different. Don't mess those up because you definitely want a boarding pass.
Oh my gosh. I'll be trying to get mine in Disneyland at like 1 o'clock and everyone's like, no, it's over.
I wonder what is different though. Like, I don't know. Because you hear the copy paste all the time. So it's just like they kept the 7 the same. Is 12 o'clock something important over in Disneyland?
Right. Or my question is 1 o'clock something important in Disneyland, and that's why they had to move it to 12? I don't know.
Or what time can you park hop? Does that have anything to do with it?
So park hopping is available at 1 o'clock. So that could be part of it, that, they want to see what your boarding pass for, because right now, not only can you get a boarding group for Rise of Resistance, but also Web Slingers in Avengers Campus and TA. So depending on which ride you get it for, might depend on where you're park hopping to. So that might be why they do 12 o'clock.
Interesting. We just figured that out too. Like brainstorm and figured that one out. Listen, I'm impressed.
And then the last difference we have, which I don't even know if this is super noticeable. I've been to both, and I can't say that I noticed this, but in my research, I found out that the color scheme is actually different. So in Orlando, they're more bold, darker colors, whereas in Anaheim, it's more like weathered and muted colors. Sydney, did you really notice this when you were at both lands?
I want to say it was more intense in Florida, but I just kind of thought that was because of the sun and how hot it is there, especially because I walked through Toy Story Land to get there the first time I visited. So it just I already saw the bold colors in Toy Story Land, and then the sun was beating down because, it's always hot there. So I think that probably made the difference for me. But now that you do mention it, looking back at photos, I can tell kind of the difference between the ones that I've taken in Disneyland and the ones that I take in Disney World.
That's interesting. I'll have to look now.
Yes, so many things to look out for. Y'all, I'm just blown away because you hear so much copy and paste, it's the exact same thing, but food is different, drinks are different, it's just so much. I'm really glad that we are talking about this. I absolutely love it. I do have some questions for Sydney and Amanda. Do y'all feel like answering some Q&A about Disneyland?
Of course.
Okay, so my first one is, what are your favorite hidden Star Wars details in Galaxy's Edge Disneyland?
Ooh, you're putting us on the spot.
Yeah.
I can go first because I already know the answer.
Okay, you go first.
And this is something that's different than Florida too. So in Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, there is actually a hidden Mickey, which is not in Florida. And I don't know if you've seen this one, Sydney. I can share a picture of it so everyone can see it. But it's basically stormtroopers had their blaster, and of course they missed because they're stormtroopers, and hit the wall, and it's a hidden Mickey right at the wall. So I will share a picture that I have of that, but that's one of my favorite hidden details, and I go and I visit it every time I'm in Galaxy.
And it's not in Disney World?
No, it's not.
Wow.
Yeah, at least not the same one that I'm thinking of. I'm sure there's hidden Mickeys because that's Disney. They always make sure there's hidden Mickeys everywhere. But that specific blaster one is not in Disney World.
Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely share a picture of that, and then I'll include it in our little YouTube video so everyone knows what you're talking about.
Oh, Sydney, what's your favorite?
So mine's more obvious because I noticed that you guys already discussed it on the script, but my favorite detail is the R2-D2 tracks that they imprinted. Just the thought of doing that and knowing it was the original R2-D2, I freaked out when I found out, and then I purposely looked for it the first time I went to the one in Disney World and found it and took pictures and videos. And if you saw my camera roll, you would probably think oh, she just left her camera on and it's filming the floor. But really, I know it's special.
I love that. Yeah, that we did discuss that in the last segment. I think that's one of the coolest touches. Did you guys know that there is a number on every single trash can in Galaxy's Edge? Did y'all know that detail? And it was the same. You didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Okay, I geeked out on that one. I'm not going to mention it again because it was earlier in the episode, but I geeked out on that detail.
I did too. And I tell everyone, every new person I go into Galaxy's Edge with, that's my fun facts that I tell them. So I'm impressed that you know that, Kaycee.
Yes, girl, in my research, you know. All right, so my next question. If you guys could take anything home, anything from Galaxy's Edge, anything, what would it be and why?
A free droid. That's the answer. It's
Yes.
expensive and I just want to do it.
Wow. If you're saying anything, I would just go and take the Millennium Falcon and put that somewhere. Maybe
where would you put that?
On top of my apartment building.
What?
Oh, plane's coming home on the plane.
Yeah. I could just fly it home. It's fine. It's the fastest hunk of junk. I'd be in school in like 2 seconds. It's great.
I did not think you would say that. That's so funny. What about you, Amanda?
It's hilarious that Sydney said that because that was literally the first thing that popped into my head. Like, Sydney and I are so similar with things, it kills me. But second, I think I would pick a lightsaber because that's like one of the things I really want to do. And they're just so expensive. Like, I can't justify it, but I really want to build a lightsaber someday. I'll do that.
For sure.
I thought of one more thing I would take home probably.
What?
Kylo Ren.
Oh my God. I'm about to end this Zoom call right now.
No, I'm going to cut that out.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. That's so cool. So I'm with Kara. I would take one of those like prop droids home. Like I think those are so cool. So cool. All right. This actually leads into my very last question. Okay. So Kara and I briefly talked about this in our earlier segment about building droids and lightsabers, which Amanda, you just mentioned this a second ago. But have either of you guys done this? And if you have, I want to hear about like your experience. Like, was it just the coolest thing ever? Is it worth the money? Like, what do you think?
So I have built the droid. I obviously haven't built a lightsaber. I just did that. But I built the droid the first time that I actually went to the preview, and it was really cool. It is a short experience. It only took us like 15 minutes maybe, and it actually took me a little longer because the first time I built it, I put the light on backwards and it didn't work.
Oh no.
I'm kind of glad I did that because it extended my experience. But it's cool. They give you like little electric drills that you get to use to like screw in the legs, and you pick all your body parts and you can do whatever color scheme you want. And after you're done, you get to take your little droid in the box, or some people buy a backpack to put it in. And then it like interacts with the land as you're walking through it. So it has this little personality, and mine it was with the Resistance. So anytime we went like near First Order stuff, it started freaking out and like crying and, you know, making all these sounds like it's upset. And then it gets into like the Resistance side and it's happy and beeping and like, you know, how you picture R2-D2 to be. So I 100% think it's worth it. I have it as my classroom mascot now. We named him R2N5 because my classroom is N5. That's our classroom number. And the kids love to play with him. And there's like a little app you can do where he'll dance and he plays like tic-tac-toe with you, which is hilarious because when he loses, he cries and gets all upset and like turns away and leaves you. And it's super fun. If you are a Star Wars nerd like me, 100%, it's worth it.
Kara's about to go buy a droid.
Droid, because it's like a dog. I just want the droid.
I'll have your droid play with Shayla.
Yes. Would Shayla like freak out?
She will try to destroy it. For sure.
Amanda, I'm so like I want to see it, but I'm so upset it's in your classroom and you're at home right now. So I would really love to see that. You should post a picture of it.
I have videos of playing tic-tac-toe with him, so I'll send you videos.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, there was my little question segment there. We also need to talk about some new stuff that is coming to Galaxy's Edge. Kara, take us off.
I get anxious talking about it because what's coming to Galaxy's Edge? And sorry, my West Coast friends, this is only coming to Walt Disney World right now. But it is the ultimate Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. I don't want to get this wrong. Galactic Star Cruiser. So this is a new location. It's going to be a resort. Not only a resort, but it's going to be equal parts hotel and theme park in this building thing.
Which is mind-blowing.
In this Galactic Cruiser. So it's going to have guests come on, and they are going to be travelers of this luxurious Star Cruiser, and they're going to be able to take advantage and take part of these like exclusive various activities and events. And just one of the events, a part of their voyage, is going to be traveling to the land of Batuu. So a part of that excursion is going to be actually going to Hollywood Studios, going to Galaxy's Edge, the land of Batuu. Now, some pricing came out for this, some information came out. I don't know about you guys, but it was overwhelming. You almost have to take out a loan to do this, but I'm sure people are going to do it. I wish people could support the Why We Disney podcast team and we could go voyage on it. I know it's going to be an amazing experience, even for non-Star Wars fans. It's something that's going to be so immersive. Think of it almost like, I don't know, they're calling it a Star Cruiser. It's almost like a cruise ship. Right? It's going to be this whole experience, and then you also get to go to Batuu. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Does anyone have plans to go on it?
I wish.
If someone wants to give me $4,500.
Really?
Is it really that expensive?
For two, I think it's like around $4,500 for four, like a family of four. It's close to $6,000 for 2 days.
So the price is out of this world, and it's crazy. And right now, we're talking about being able to justify things and prices of things, and that's just not something I can justify to not be able to. I'm spending $4,000 and not going to the other parks. I just can't do it. But I know our diehard Star Wars fans out there are super excited to go on this, and we, of course, on the podcast are going to give you as much information and as much updates as possible. And I know when everyone goes on, there's going to be so many pictures, and I'm excited for other people. It's just I don't know when I'll get to the Star Wars.
Same.
It's on my list, but who knows when we'll get to it.
You will. I believe it. When it becomes less popular, like let Disney come out with a bunch of other stuff and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, y'all, I've absolutely loved this segment. I want to first thank just Sydney and Amanda for coming on with us to talk about the West Coast. Like, unfortunately, Kara and I just don't get out there yet ever, but I'm just so happy to have your perspective. So thank you so much for joining us today. You guys rock. All right. Well, guys, do not forget to make sure to follow us on Instagram and all of our social medias. We literally have them all. And make sure you subscribe to our monthly newsletter as well. Super excited about having that go out and our new team members. So don't forget to follow us all on social media. We love you guys so much. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.